Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about linear equations or rectangular coordinates. So we're just going to introduce graphing. So we graphed before on a number line. The number line was just where you have a line and you have 0, 1, 2, all your positive numbers in this direction, all of your negative numbers in this direction, and then we graph like x is greater than 2. And that will be something like this if x is strictly greater than 2. So we graphed these when we were solving linear inequalities. So now when we graph those only dealt with one variable. So today we're going to be graphing linear equations, which deals with 2 variables. So when you graph linear inequations, or when you graph something that deals with 2 variables, you graph it in what's called the rectangular coordinate system. The rectangular coordinate system is comprised of what we call the x-axis, which is your horizontal axis, and the y-axis, which is your vertical axis. On the x-axis, it's almost like that number line we just looked at. Your positive numbers go to the right, and your negative numbers go to the left. On the y-axis, your positive numbers go up, and so forth, and your negative numbers go down. This coordinate system is broken up into what's called quadrants. There are 4 quadrants, and the first quadrant is here, and we usually write them in Roman numerals. The second quadrant, so it doesn't go clockwise, which you think it would go, it actually goes counterclockwise. So the second quadrant is here, the third quadrant is here, and the fourth quadrant here. So in each quadrant, you have different values for your x and y values, or you have different signs for your x and y values. So here in the first quadrant, both your x and y values are positive. Here in the second quadrant, your x values are negative. So I'll write it this way instead of that sign. It might be confusing. And your y values are positive. So your y values are positive. In the third quadrant, your x values are negative and your y values are negative. In the fourth quadrant, your x values are positive, but your y values are negative. So then we have what's called ordered pairs. Ordered pairs are points inside the rectangular coordinate system. So an ordered pair is denoted by parentheses, the x value, then the y value separated by a comma with a closed parentheses. So the first coordinate will always represent the x coordinate. The second coordinate will always represent the y coordinate. So for example, if we had the point 1, 2. So what that means is that you go to 1 on the x-axis. So I'm going to draw a dashed line through 1. You go to 2 on the y-axis, which is here. So I'm going to draw a horizontal line through 2. And then where those 2 lines intersect, that's where that coordinate point lives. That ordered pair lives. So this here is the point 1, 2. Okay, let's try another one. Say we wanted to graph 3 or plot 3, -4. So we go to 3 on the x-axis, which is here. So I'm going to draw a dashed line through 3. We go to -4 on the y-axis, which is here. And I'm going to draw a dashed line through -4. And the point where those 2 lines intersect is where 3, -4 lives. So this is the point 3, -4. This is in the fourth quadrant. And as you can see, the x value is positive and the y value is negative. Alrighty. So one more. Let's do -1, 3. So the x value is negative and the y value is positive. So which quadrant would that be in? That would be the second quadrant. So if you said second quadrant, you are correct. The x is negative and the y value is positive. So you would go to -1 on the x, which is here. And you would go to 3 on the y, which is here. So where those 2 intersect, which is here, is where that will live, -1, 3. And of course, I wouldn't leave those dashed lines. I would erase them. But for the sake of just showing you, I'm leaving them there. So that's how you would plot your ordered pairs. Okay, one last one I forgot. Let's do the point 0, 0. So for 0, 0, you would go to 0 on the x. 0 on the x is here. And 0 on the y. 0 on the y is also here. So 0, 0 is this point right here. That's the point 0, 0 right here. But that is also called the origin. So the point 0, 0 is what we call the origin. And that's basically where your two axes meet. So a linear equation is an equation of the form ax plus by equals c. This is what we call standard form for a linear equation. Now, how do you know it's a linear equation? So first of all, it's an equation because it has an equal sign. And then it also has two variables. Your two variables are x and y. A, b, and c just represent some numbers. So it has two variables, x and y, and the highest exponent on each of those variables is 1. So when I say the highest exponent, there is no exponent written on x. There is no exponent written on y. So there's an understood exponent of 1 on those. So when your highest exponent is 1, you're dealing with the linear equation. So a linear equation is an equation of this form. So an example of a linear equation would be 3x plus 4y equal 9. So your A would be 3, your B would be 4, and your C would be 9. Now there are other forms of linear equations. I mean, you can see it written in other forms, but this is standard form, and standard form is when your x and y are on the same side of the equal sign. For example 1, we want to decide if the ordered pair 3, 2 is a solution to the equation 2x plus 3y equal 12. So this is a linear equation. It's in the form of ax plus by equals c. But even if it wasn't in that form, you have two variables and there is no exponent on those variables, or there's an understood exponent of 1. So that means it is a linear equation. So now if I want to determine if 3, 2 is a solution to it, then what I would need to do is plug in these values and determine if I get a true or a false statement. If I get a true statement, then it is a solution. If I get a false statement, it's not a solution. So now where do I plug these in? So remember, in an ordered pair, the first coordinate always represents x and the second coordinate always represents y. So I will replace x with 3 and I will replace y with 2. And the question is this true or false? Does this come out to equal or not? 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 equals 12. So I get a true statement. So therefore, this value is a solution. So we will say, yes, it's a solution. In this second example, we want to complete the ordered pair 7 blank for the equation y equal 4x plus 5. So this is a linear equation also, although it's not in the form ax plus by equals c. There is no exponent on x and y, and there is an equal sign. So it's still a linear equation. We want to figure out, basically this is saying, because this is the x and this is the y, basically this is saying what is the y value when x is equal to 7. So since we know that the x is 7, what we'll do is replace x with 7 and then solve for y. So y equal to 4x, x is 7, plus 5. 4 times 7 is 28. 28 plus 5 is 33. So 33 would be the missing value in that ordered pair. And that's all you do. So if it gives you one of the values, you use that value to find the other value. For example 3, we want to complete the table for the equation x minus 2y equal 8. So here's the table. As you can see, it gives us some values and we have to find the missing values. So for this first one, it gives us that the value of x is 2. So just like in the last example, all you do is you replace x with 2 and you figure out what is y. So now this time y isn't so easily given, so we actually have to go through and solve for y. So we need to get y on the side by itself. So we would get rid of this 2 by subtracting 2 from both sides. When we subtract 2, those would cancel. It would leave us with negative 2y, and 8 minus 2 is 6. Then we would get rid of negative 2, since this is negative 2 times y, by dividing both sides by negative 2. And that would give us y is equal to negative 3. So this missing value here would be negative 3. For this second one, it gives us that x is 10. So we'll do the same thing, x minus 2y equal 8. But this time we'll replace x with 10. And then we'll have to go through and solve for y. So we would get rid of the 10 by subtracting 10 from both sides. The 10s would cancel and leave us with negative 2y equal to 8 minus 10, which is negative 2. And then we would get rid of this negative 2 by dividing both sides by negative 2. which will give us y is equal to 1. The negative 2's will cancel. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. So our missing value here will be 1. Now this last one, it actually gives us the value of y. So we will replace y this time with 0. So x minus 2 times 0 equal to 8. Well, 2 times 0 is 0. So that's x minus 0 equal to 8. X minus 0 is just x. So x is equal to 8. So the missing value that goes there will be 8. And so that's how you would complete the table. You will just use the value that's given and find the value of the other variable that's not given. So this is the introduction to graphing, looking at the coordinate system, what are ordered pairs, how to plot ordered pairs, and then just looking at graphing linear equations. There are all other different types of equations you can graph, but we only focusing on the beginning of graphing. And so if you go on and watch the next video, you'll talk about different ways, or you'll learn about different ways to graph. If you have any questions whatsoever, make sure you include them in the comments. And if this video helped you, hit the like button, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.